discuss about Essbase MaxL and MDX scripts. Okay, so we
Mhm.
go like a few Essbase language which is used to interact with Essbase applications and database. Okay, um, like you have an option like a Essbase console. Through the Essbase console, you can perform all the activities like you can load data, or if you want to execute calculation, you can perform it through that Essbase console. We have all that functionality in the console. Okay, but if you want to automate something, okay, you want to automate data load, or you want to execute the calculation through some Apache script, then we need some scripting. Okay, so like Essbase provided MaxL and MDX scripts. Okay, and also it has that command line interface that we call it as Essbase command prompt. Okay, so command line interface also used to interact with the Essbase application and database. Okay, so in Essbase CMD, we have two types. One is interactive mode, and another one is batch processing mode. Okay, so in both mode, we'll be using the same commands. But interactive mode means just we open the command prompt and we just send the send the commands to the Essbase server, and it will respond to the command. Like for example, if you want to list out that Essbase application, just you can do it through the command prompt, and you will get the list. Okay, so in batch processing, you'll be writing list of commands. Okay, for example, you want to perform some load activities, or you want to perform some dimension and build activities using the text Essbase command. You go to write a few many commands, and it will be written in one of the batch script. Okay, so we will be calling the batch script to execute all the tasks. Okay, so that's one we'll be calling as batch processing. Let me go to some examples. Okay, so I have opened command prompt. Okay, so I'm just logging into the Essbase server using that login command. Okay, now I have logged into that command prompt. Next, I want to get some. I want to see the list of Essbase applications and its database. And also, if I want to see the service, just I will type get uh, app or details app list something. Okay, so just I will interact with the Essbase server using the command prompt. Just you remember we type that command in the task prompt, and we just create directory, change directory in the command DOS command, right? The same activity will be doing through the Essbase command prompt. So if we want to get that the status of that application or status of the database, or then we can get that get state. Okay, so it will return that the status of the database. Okay, so this is how we interact with the Essbase applications. Okay, this one we call it as interactive mode. Okay, so next one we call it as batch processing. So in the batch processing, we'll be creating one batch file. Okay, so in the batch file, just we include all these commands. Okay, and save it as some login dot batch file something. Okay, so you can log into the Essbase CMD. Okay, you can just open the CMD, and just instead of running each and every command, just you can call that patch file. Okay, so if you call that login.patch file, it will execute all that command in a sequence as per the order given in that file. Okay, so this is the difference between interactive mode and that batch processing mode. Okay, so in the batch processing, that will be writing all the script in the file. Okay, it will be a patch file or that some str file, because we want to automate something, right? So we'll be doing it through the patch processing. Okay, but if you want to do some certain admin task, okay, you want to stop something, or you want to start one of the application, then you can just open the command prompt, and you can interact with that Essbase server. Okay, so that is the difference between the both modes. Okay, so this is a sample script. Okay, just so you can, if you have installed Essbase command prompt in the server, just so you can open that DOS window. From there you can type ESSCMD. Okay, so if you type ESSCMD, it will open Essbase command prompt. Okay, so now I have opened the command. So once you open that command prompt, you can see that window in the closed bracket you are seeing the zero, right? Okay, double quotes and you are seeing zero and arrow. Okay, this is how that Essbase CMD looks like. Okay, so once you open the command prompt, you can just type login. Okay, and here I have given username and password. Sorry, first I have given the server name, and here I have given that means username and password. Okay, so just you enter that command and it will give it logged into the server, and also it provide that available application in the Essbase server. Okay, so left side you can see the application list, and the right side you can see that a database associated with that Essbase applications. Okay, now you can using the select command, you can select any of that application and the database. Okay, now I have selected hybrid aggregations application. Okay, so okay, it says does not exist. You can select some other applications. Okay, so once the application is selected, you can perform that other activity on that specific application. For example, you can execute any calculator script, or you can perform the data load. Okay, on that specific application. Okay, so there are a lot of commands in Essbase CMD. You can go through that. Okay, and if you for example, you started one of the calculation script through the Essbase command prompt. Okay, but later you realize that you don't want that calculation to be executed. Okay, so in that case, just you can press escape on the command prompt. So if you press escape on the command prompt, it will cancel that execution. If you want to exit from that command prompt, just type exit. Okay, and if you want to log out from the application, just you go to type log out. Okay, so these are the simple commands you will be using the Essbase command prompt. And also in Windows we can use any character, any case. Okay, it's not a case sensitive in Windows, but if you are using the Unix server, then all the commands are case sensitive. So if you are working on the Windows server, all the commands are not case sensitive. Okay, but if you are working on the Unix box, then all the commands are case sensitive. And also all that if there is any space between all that the object, for example, the calculation has some space between that file name, then you have to use double quotes. And also mostly we'll be using the double quotes for the each characters, and that all the command should end with a semicolon. And also you can use some numerical numbers in that command. For example, you want to load some data to the Essbase application. Okay, so for that, you can specify some number. Okay. So for example, I'm giving load data 3. 3 means it calling one of the file. Okay. So when you write the command, right, you go to mention the file name as well. Load data 3, and here you go to provide the source file name. And if you are using the numeric value or something, if it is 4, it is calling the SQL data table. Okay. So then you have to mention that SQL database source details. Like if you are using that Oracle SQL data source as a store, then you have to provide those details here. Okay. Then it will, yeah, based on that numeric value, it will connect to that source. It will connect to the source, and it will fetch that tables or that file, whatever it may be. Okay. So this is one of the example for the patch processing. Okay. So here I have given few commands. First, I'm logging to that server, and I'm selecting one of the specific application, and just I'm getting that DB state. DB statement, it will fetch all that details of the database, like how many dimensions are used in the database and how many calculations scripts. Okay. So it will give you about the details of or the statistic of our database. Okay. So once I have completed that my task, just I'm exiting from that command prompt. Okay. So if you're going to automate something, you will be using the batch script. Okay, so this is example for the batch processing.
The same thing you will put it in the batch file.
Yes. You can create one SCR file or the batch script, and you can put it there, and you can call that script from the Essbase CMD. And also you can handle the errors. Okay, for example, I'm loading the data. Okay, first I'm logging to that server. I'm trying to load the data from that calc data source file. Okay, for example, it throws error. Okay, if there is any error, it will return the error code, like it will return -1, or it will give some numeric value. Okay, so if there is any error, it will skip that command. Okay, and it will skip the command and it will come to that error captions. We have created one label.error. Okay, so based on the error, it will quit that the current command and jumps to that last the end of that uh, command prompt. Okay, and if there is no error, it will return 0. Okay, if there is no error, it will proceed with the next command. Okay, so whatever you do it in the test space applications, right? If there is any error, it will return the error code. Okay, if there is any error, it will return 0. Okay, so based on that error code, we will be handling that errors. So after the error, you can print something. There is some error message, and you can print that error code. Okay, you can write something here.
Okay.
So this is for importing the data. Okay, using that import command, you will be importing the data to the specific applications. Okay. So whenever you start working on that any activity in the Essbase application, right? So you go to disable that user connection. Okay. For example, you want to add any member in the outline. Okay. First, you go to disable all that user connection from the application, and after that, you go to start working on that. Okay. So once you are done with that all the activities, then after that, you can enable the user connections. That means you are moving that Essbase application to admin mode. Okay. Otherwise, it will make a lot of issues. For example, you are updating something in the outline. Okay, so the outline will be locked for the changes, and in the meantime, the user is trying to uh, execute some calculation, or they are trying to load the data. Okay, if they are if they are doing it in the same time, it will corrupt the database. Okay, so you should be always very careful and make sure that you disable the user connection while you are doing any maintenance activity or the admin activities. Okay, so if you log into the Essbase console and go to the application properties, okay, just edit the properties. There you will be seeing that option to disable that user connection and enable user connection. Okay, you can do it through the Essbase console, or you can just do it through that Essbase command prompt. So here I'm just logging into that server and selecting any of the applications, the specific application and database. And after that, just I'm disabling the login, the user connection. Okay. After disabling the user connection, I am trying to load the data from the source file. Import to actual for y. Y mean yes. I think it's for the replace or something. If you want to replace existing data, yes, and it will give that these numeric values are that the first two means already we saw that, right? Two means it load that files from the remote server. Okay, and you go to 4 mean I think it's a rule file or whether it's a dimension build. So you go to refer the Oracle documents for that number. Okay,
For the
and
numbers.
yeah, 2 means I think it's a rule file or it's a direct import, like that. There will be a reference for each number. Okay.
Okay.
And based on that value, it imports the data to the Essbase applications. Okay. So once the data load is completed, we'll be doing that calculations. Okay. Just we are calling that calc default script and doing the applications. Okay. And after that, we just we are enabling that login connection for the user. Okay. So, and after that, just we can exit from the command prompt. So, and also before disabling that connection, right, you go to check the Essbase session if there is any active user or if they are running something. Okay. So after that, only you have to proceed with that disabling login. Usually, we check with the user before we do any activities. Okay, and this is for dimension build. Okay, so it is we follow the same procedure, and also if there is any errors during the dimension build, just we can log all the details into the error file. Okay,
Okay.
here we follow the same. So this is for the interactive mode. Just I'm logging to the Essbase prompt. Okay, just I'm selecting application name and database. Okay, so these are the few examples for this Essbase command prompt. Okay, login, log out, list logins. List logins mean just we can see that the current active users are logged into the Essbase applications. Okay, and set
Okay.
login, and you can you can use a sleep command to sleep. I never use a sleep. I am not sure about it. Or we select exit. I already know about. Okay. So mostly we'll be using list app, list DB. Okay. Get DB info, get DB state. DB state mean it will give you that statistic of database. Okay. And delete DB create application. You can do it through that Essbase console. Okay. And okay, and also you can use unload app, unload app. That means it will stop the applications. Okay. If you want
Oh,
to
okay.
stop the application and the database, or just you go to the Essbase console, then just right click on that. You can click start or stop. Okay. So it will, yeah, uh, for example, you are doing something there and you are changing the properties of the application. Okay. So to reflect the changes, you go to restart the application. So for that, we'll be using the unload app and load app. Unload app means it will stop that application. Load app means it will start the application. Okay. Same for
Okay.
that
Okay.
database. So whatever, if you're updating something in the application, you go to restore the application. Okay. And also, if you make any changes in the Essbase server side, then you go to restore the Essbase server. Okay.
Okay.
Mostly we don't do any the Windows server restore. Okay. That will be handled by the Windows administrator. For example, some Essbase server is not responding and it occupies more RAM or the CPU, then that time you have to restore the Windows server. Okay. So that one you have to work with the Windows administrator and you have to perform restore. So this is for the user and group security. You can disable login, enable login. Okay. Log out any specific users and you can create user, delete users. Okay. So this one will be managing it through the shared services. Okay. Okay, so these are the commands used for the dimension build. Okay, using the build team, we can import the metadata to Essbase Cube. Okay, uh, and also we can use data load. Okay, here we go the data load. Here now the post it using the data load. We can load the data into application, and you can update something in that application. Maybe update properties or something. Reset a DB mean it will reset an entire database. That means it will clear the data from the application. So you can use the export command to export the data. Maybe you can export all data, 00 data, and import data means you can import that data from the exported file. It's a free form load. Okay, so for example, if you have 10 GB of data in the level 0, okay, if you are doing that aggregation, you will create around 40 GB page files because it's aggregating and create many data blocks, right? So the page file size will be increased. And these are the commands for the calculating the database. Using the calc, just we can perform the aggregations. Calc all, calc lim, okay. And the run calc will yeah, call that any specific calculus script, okay. Okay, just you can go through the command. So in the Oracle documentation, right? If you refer that Oracle documentation, it will provide all the list of commands, and also it will give you the sample script. Okay, so that you can go through that. Based on that, you can just write that your own command. So these are the sample script. Okay. Just I'm logging into that Essbase server using the username password server details, and it's logged into that server. It provides the list of applications and the database. Here you can perform the activities. Okay, sorry, this is the MaxL script. Okay, so this is an example for get DB state. Okay, just I have executed get DB state. Okay, it provides the statistic of that database. Here you can see that list of dimensions and that dimension type and the size of the dimensions. Okay, size mean the actual size is 12, so it has a 12 members, and the declared size mean 19. That means it has dynamic members, dynamic calc members. There are 12 stored members, and also it includes a few dynamic members. And here you can see the total number of dimension and the block size. Okay, here you can see the block size of that database, actual block size. Okay, here if you look at that the last one, free space recovery is needed. Okay, it says no. While you are doing that data load, right, there may be lots of free space. Okay, so every month you have to perform a restructuring to delete that free space. If there are more free space, it will impact the calculating performance, and also it will take a longer time for the data load. Okay, so at least every month or every quarter you have to perform the maintenance activity, like what we do, right? For example, you in the outline you have spots members and the dense members. So when you make any changes in that outline, it will do the restructuring. If you are making any changes in the dense member, it will do the dense restructure. Okay. If you are doing any if you are deleting or creating any spots member, it will do that spots restructuring. Okay. So during the restructure, it will delete the entire data block and it will recreate the data block. Okay, so always that if you are deleting the dense member, it will take very it will clear the entire data block, and it will recreate the data block based on that spots and the dense combination. So it will take very longer time. For example, if you are deleting any account member, it will take at least 15 to 30 minutes based on that data size. Okay. Um, so uh, for example, you are checking the DB state and it says free space recovery is needed. Okay, so that time you can create any dummy member under the dense hierarchy, and you can delete that. So while doing that task, it will doing the restructuring. Okay, so this is how we remove the free space from the database. So every quarter or every month, you can check the DB state and see these settings. Free space recovery is needed. Okay. And also there is another option. Just you can right click on the database and you can select restructuring. Okay, so that also it will remove the free space from the application. So next we will talk about the MaxL script and MDX script. MaxL script also similar to the Essbase command prompt commands. Okay, and but it has lots of functions in MaxL. Okay, so MaxL mean it's a TDL language, data definition language. You can play with if you want to perform any admin task, just you can use the MaxL commands. You want to alter something in the application, then you can use the MaxL command. Okay. So MDX is the data manipulation language. If you want to see some data from a specific point of view, you can do that MDX scripting on the database. Okay. So that's the difference between MaxL and MDX. So in the Oracle SQL, we go TTL and DML language, right? Okay. So similarly, we go same kind of language in Essbase, MaxL and MDX. I'll give you some examples. Okay. For example, I want to log in into that Essbase server. Okay, using the login command. Okay. I logged into the Essbase application. Okay. And for example, I want to reset that data in the database. Okay. For that, I'll be using Alder, and I have to give that uh, database details, the application and the database details. So always we can give that application and dot database name. This is how we mention that application and database in that MaxL script. Okay. So as the database, I go to provide the application and the database name, and I'm giving the reset data. It will reset the entire data from the database. And after that, I can log out from the MaxL and exiting from the MaxL script. Okay. So MaxL also it's similar to that Essbase command prompt, Essbase command, but it has a lot of functionality. Okay. So mostly we will be using that MaxWell's commands for the automations. So this is for loading the data into the same application and the database. Okay. So here I am using the patch commands. Okay. Just if there is any error or you want to see the progress of the MaxWell's command, I can use a spool on, spool off. Okay. First I'm logging into that Essbase server. Here I am using the parameters. Okay. It's like a substitution variable. Okay. So in the one of the parameter file, I can give that username and the password details. Okay. Just I can encode it and just I can call that parameter in that MaxL script. Okay. So here I am importing the data using that data file. There are few options. Well, the first option, just I can load the data using that data load rule file, or just I can directly call that data file and import into the Essbase. So based on that option, just you go to enable here. Okay. So here I am importing the data. So this is a command for importing the data from the source file, or just we can call that rule file to import the data. Okay. So here I'm using that source file as source file from the server, and also I'm using the rule file. Using this rule file, I'm inputting the data to the Essbase application. Okay. So this is for in the Essbase command we already saw, right? We go to disable the user connections. Okay. So Essbase command will be using disable user login something. Okay. If it is MaxL script, you go to use this command, so disable connects. Actually, MaxL script is different, and Essbase command, the Essbase command line interface, those commands are different. Okay, don't confuse with Essbase command and MaxL command. So if you want to change something in the Essbase application, you go to use alter application source, the source application name, and I'm using disable connect. So it will disable all the connection from the users. And also you can use enable connect to enable connection for all the users. So this is example for executing the specific calculation. Okay. So you have to use execute calculation and application name, database name, and you have to mention the specific Essbase calculation name. And also you can export the data from that the specific database using that report file. Report file mean it has that report script. Using the report script, we can export the data from the Essbase applications. Okay, so it's called that specific report script, and they export the data to one of the text file. It's all the same. Just we are disabling connect and executing that calculations. This one we already saw. Okay, this is an example for the importing the data into Essbase application using the rule file. Okay, here we see here we are automated data load using the patch command. Okay, so these are the patch scripts. Okay, so in the patch, just we are creating the variables. In the variable we have assigned the Essbase username, password. Okay, so this parameter will be used in that data load. It's like if you want to hide the user details from the other user, right? We will be using the parameter. Okay. So here we are using the loop, for loop, and just so this is for spool on and spool off. If you want to get all the log details, just you can the spool command. This is
So it will be log.
patch command. Okay. So if you see any errors in that execution, right, you can refer this log file to see the details. Okay. So this one we already discussed. This is for importing the data into a Essbase application. Okay. Using the rule file,
Yeah.
we'll be importing the data. And this is for stopping the application using the unload command. We will be stopping all the entire application. Okay. If you want to stop any specific application, you're going to mention the application name here. Okay.
Okay.
So first we are connecting to that Essbase server and using the other system unload application command. Just we are stopping the application. And after that, just we are log out and exit from the MaxL command. And if you want to start the application, you got to use load application on. Okay, so it will start the entire application.
Okay.
Mostly we will start only the specific application which will be used by the users. Okay, because if we start all the applications, right, it will occupy more memory in the RAM. It will impact the server performance. Okay, so always it's recommended to start only the specific applications. Okay, so in the test based console, we have option to create the MaxL command. Just you go to open the Essbase console and go to file. Okay, in the file and just click on the new. Okay, so if you click on the new, you will be seeing these options. You can create a report script, calculation script, MaxL script, MDX script, and also you can create a role file. Okay, so just click on the MaxL script. So if you click on the MaxL script, it will open one new MaxL Script Editor. Okay, so here you can write your MaxL script. For example, you want to log into Essbase Server, or if you want to alter something through the MaxL script, you can write it and execute this script. Okay, so I have written this one. I am just logging into that application and importing the data from that data load file, and I'm using the rule file called data underscore LD. Okay, just without saving it to MaxL script, I can directly execute that script on the Essbase console. Okay, so if you see this icon, right, just click on that button. It will execute the MaxL script. Okay, so in the bottom you can see the progress. So this is how we save the MaxL script. Okay, usually we don't need to save anything. Okay, if it's only one-time activity, then you don't need to save anything. But if you're going to do it in the regular basis, or you want to update something in that monthly basis, maybe you can save the file and you can execute it that. Okay, this is for creating the rule file. Just ignore that. Okay. So I created a MaxL script and executed it. Okay. So in the bottom you can see the result, and if there is any errors, you can see it in that MaxL results console. It says statement executed successfully. Okay. Okay, so these are the sample of MaxL script. Just I'm logging into that Essbase server. Okay, using this username and password, I'm logging into that local host. Okay, so this is a script for exporting the data. I'm just trying to export the level 0 data to the tone of the text file. Okay, so this is another MaxL script, sample script. Okay, here I can alter that Essbase session. For example, many users logged into any specific application. Okay, so if I want to log out any session, just I can use alter session logout. Okay, just I go to provide the username and that database. I can log out the sessions. So this
Okay.
one will it will log out the entire sessions from that the sessions related to the specific application. Okay, and one of the specific user is started the calculation. Okay, it's taking very long time. Okay, if you want to kill that session, you can use kill request on the Essbase database. And next we discuss about MDX. Okay, we rarely use that MDX query. Okay, or it's a data manipulation language. If you want to retrieve the data from the application and the database, you can use this MDX query. Okay, so here you go to use a select and you go to provide the dimension or the member details, and select from. The from, you go to give that application details, application and database details, and also if there is any condition, you can specify it in the where clause. Okay, so it's like a Oracle SQL query. Select star from, and you go to give some conditions the where clause. Okay, so if you execute that query, it will fetch the data from the Essbase application and give it in that output console. Okay, and also you can export that data into any specific file using the export into file name. Okay, so this is a sample script. I'm doing selection on that application called sample.basic application. Okay, I mentioned all the commands in the column. I need to give the member measures. In the row, I have given periods, quarter one, quarter two. Okay, and also I'm doing some cross join between the members. Okay, on the page, I go to get that New York and actual scenario profit measures. Okay, so just I'm doing selection on the sample base. It will give the results like this. Okay. So this is another way of extracting the data from Essbase application. Mostly we don't use this, okay. But if you are working on the VB macros, using the VB macros, we can automate the Essbase admin task, okay. So in that, if you are using that VB script, then you will be using the MDX query, okay. So many users will be in the Essbase macros, okay. Uh, uh, they will be running that. They will be clicking on button using that. Uh, Button functionality, they will generate the reports from the Essbase application. Okay, so for that they will be using the MDX query. So these are the few MDX functions. Okay, if you want to aggregate the data, you can do that, and you can get that generation values, and you can get the attributes values. Okay, so it's based on the requirement. You will be using the MDX function. Okay. Mostly, I worked on Essbase for more than 6 years. Okay, we never used MDX query. So here we have that report editor. The report editor will be giving all that commands to extract the data. Okay, so just we are executing that report script in that Essbase server, and it will give you that output. Okay. So in that report script, we go three parts. First one, we go to provide that extraction commands. Okay, and also we go to specify the format for the data, whether it's a decimal or integer. Okay, so just we go to provide the formatting in the command, and we go to provide that report like we go to provide the members. What are the members we need to uh, fetch? Okay, so that one will be providing the report scripts. It will have the three parts. So when this is a page layout for that report script. First, we go to provide the page details and column and the row. So you're able to understand about the page, column, and the row, right? So this is a report in that here you can give the rows, and here you can give the columns. Okay, and also here in the reports, usually in the reports you'll be having the page option in the top. Okay, so in the page you can see all the point of view like actuals, year, period. Okay, so for this point of view, you will be getting that data in the row and column, 100, something like it. Like this, you can expand the row here and columns here. You'll be getting the data like this. Okay, so page mean it gives all that point of view details in the report. So you can change that point of view in the report. I want to see the budget data. You can change it here. Okay, I want to change the year. Yeah, 21 like this. You could do it on the page. Okay, and also column you go to specify some dimension account. Here I want to get entity. So this is a layout for the report script. First we provide the page details and the column, and finally we will be giving the row details. So in the page I have given the list of dimension, product and measured. In the column I have given scenario, year, and actual. Okay, here I go mention the dimension, and for the dimension, here I go specify the value. For example, if it's scenario, I need to get only the actual scenario. If it is year, I need to get only the quarter one. Okay, children of quarter one. That means January, February, March. Okay, and here I go given the row as a market, and for that market I go given I am taking only the yeast value. So this is the result for the report script. So in the page you are getting that product and the measures, the top, and column you are getting that scenario and the year. Okay, and in the row you are getting the market. That means I descendant of yeast. So that so if the yeast has New York and these states. Okay, so based on that settings, you will be getting the report. Okay, so this is another example for the report script. Okay, in the page I have given Texas and say the column I have given actual and budget, and also I have mentioned that quarter one details. Here I have given some formatting. I go to get the decimal in the 2 place, and here the decimal in 3 place. Okay, so based on the settings, you will be getting that data. Okay, so in the row you will be having the product details, and also if there is any missing rows, if you look at the last row, right, so there is no record, so maybe you can exclude that row from that report script.
Right.
So
right.
for
Yeah,
that, if we go some specific command, we can suppress column hitting, suppress empty
Right.
rows. Okay, so there are a lot of options in the report script. Okay, so this is a sample report script. Okay, actually the report script is very easy. Okay, so if you want to create the report script in the console, we have the option called a rule file. So just right click on the rule file and we can create a new rule file. Sorry, a report, new report script. So this is how that report script looks like. First, we give all that heading details and column, rows, and page information. Here, the page information is missing. Okay, that's optional. And the left side, you will be seeing all that function details and the dimension details. Okay. So this is another example for that report script. Okay. Yeah, that's it.